Good morning. Hello. How is everybody doing today? So, exciting progress has been made on the commission work that I talked about last time. We were here at my sewing desk. I have got all the pieces cut out. So today we're going to be spending a bunch of time with the sewing machine. Yay! So exciting. I'm so excited. I hope you are. Let's see. A recap of the week so far. Sunday we played some Infinity Nikki. I have played through the entire storyline of the new update. I am sorry I didn't do that on stream. I got too excited. It started right when I opened the game to do my dailies, kind of. Then I just didn't stop. So, yeah, I like it. I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good use of like an area of the map that we hadn't used before. So, very excited about that. We'll be streaming again with Infinity Nikki on Sunday. This next week. So really excited about that. We've got a bunch of side quests that we have to do, so there'll be plenty of things to do still. I'm very excited. What else? I've gotten 2 scam text messages on job things. Can I just talk about my job search a little bit here real quick? Yeah, so far 2 this week, which is exciting. Finally, I'm on that list. Like, one of them was for a job I didn't apply for at all. And like at all. Like, it's not on any of the my lists of my list of jobs that I've applied to on the different websites I've applied to jobs on. Like, nothing. It's not in my Excel document, nothing, but they addressed me by name and said, "Thank you for applying." And I was like, I don't remember applying for this job. I don't recall this at all. So I looked them up. Horror stories on Reddit. I'm glad I follow my gut. And then I got a second text. Why didn't I block the number the first time? But we live, we learn. I got a second text from them this morning at 7 a.m. this morning. Saying that they were so happy to see that I was on their books for this week. And I'm confused, since I don't believe she's a real person. Alyssa, I'm so confused by that, because I never clicked into the calendar thing to schedule myself an appointment. So what is that about? Anyway, scammy. The red flags be red flagging, the alarm bells be ringing, and I don't click links I don't trust. So that's where that is. I'm feeling it for sure. I have been working on some background music for some videos. I am working on getting those edited so I can post them. I've got one video. I just have to do a bunch of captioning on it, and then I'm feeling pretty good about posting that one. Soon. I have not fully. No, I haven't even started editing my vacation vlog. I don't know if I'm because I did post on my Instagram. I did post some of the photos from it, and I feel like that's the only thing I really want to do. I don't know. Still haven't fully decided on that. I took videos and stuff, but I'll have to wait and see like what story comes out of the footage that I have when I start editing that. I'm working on Hello Kitty. So that's like the bigger project that I'm editing. Yeah. I don't necessarily have any other major updates. Other than I've gotten a bunch of scam things. I have my 3 drinks. I've got my water. I've got my fun drink, which is orange juice, and then I've got my caffeine, which is green tea. I did not do enough of the matcha, so it's pretty diluted in my milk substitute, but I only did 1 scoop of matcha and I should have done 2. That's my bad. And then I have in it I have some raspberry syrup from the raspberries from my garden. I need to make more syrup. Some raspberries that are about to go a little bad, so I'm going to need to make some more syrup. But yeah, I think that is the update. I am going to get going on working on this dress. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm trying to keep updated on the chat, so if you have any questions or you have any comments you want to leave, I will check them every so often, but we are going to be like buckling down because we do have a pretty tight time crunch limit thing on getting this dress done. So yeah, thanks for stopping in. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry, I had to grab a hair tie. Hello, Teru. We're going to be working on doing a bunch of sewing today. Yeah, so yesterday, I spent a good chunk of time working on the finalizing the pattern and working on getting all of the fabric pieces cut out. So I'm working on sewing those up today. Yeah, for the dress. Anyway, yeah, that's the deal. That's what's going on. Let's see what I'm doing a little bit more there. Right now, I have to do a bunch of I have to do a bunch of stay stitching, which basically is our stitches that are meant to make it so like that it doesn't warp in the progress. This is the dress that I'm cloning, and in this dress there are a lot of stay stitching in the like seams. So instead of doing like, this dress was obviously made like, this is a homemade dress that my friend thrifted. There are just stay stitches instead of like, they didn't do pinking, they didn't serge the edges, but they did do some stay stitches along every single seam. So I'm copying that. I'm taking one out of the handbook of the person that sewed the original dress, and I'm copying them. It also will be a lot faster than serging the edge because the stays. So stay stitching it's not like stays inside like a corset. Basically, a stay stitch is meant to keep the fabric like from warping and stretching, especially if you're using like a knit. They are generally in the case of like some garment constructions, they're generally removed after construction, if they are in a place that ends up being visible with the final product of a garment. But in the case of this dress, all of the stay stitches were done in the seam allowance, so they weren't visible in the final construction of the dress, so they just stayed and are acting as a way of being a stop for fraying. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, stays and corsets serve very similar purposes, and often the terms are used interchangeably by people who don't know the difference, one, or two, are tired of having to explain the difference. There are differences, but they do serve very similar functions. As far as like the part of the garment recipe that they are filling. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, the thing I'm talking about is a structural stitch, or it's a structural element, a stitch, meant to stop fraying and stop the fabric from warping during the construction process. Like, okay, so with like a knit fabric or stretch fabric in general, and often with fabrics that are cut on the bias, which is the point of fabric that has the greatest amount of stretch. Every fabric has a bias. It's why there's a thing called bias tape. Pause. It's why there's a thing called bias tape. Bias tape is a trim that is made from cutting material on that bias of the grain, and it's meant to be able to kind of like form around the thing that you're shaping around, follow curves. That's why it's pretty common for that to be used around like binding of like blankets or purses or bags, anything that has like a rounded, that where you want that like that shape to be like crisp, but it is a shape that needs to be formed around. Bias tape ends up getting used because it will stretch with the garment. So this dress is entirely cut on the bias, so that it gives it a really nice like drape across the body, with how the fabric will stretch via gravity. And so I have to do all of the stay stitching in order to ensure that that bias does not warp too much when trying to sew seams together. Otherwise, I'm going to end up with a bunch of ripply seams, and the fabric is not going to match up well. A little bit of mismatching, like one piece being a little longer than the other, is normal with garment construction, but the stay stitching helps to ensure that there isn't any extra stretch, because that would make my seam not look good. Yeah, so it is a structural element of sewing to ensure that you get the crispest finish. Crispest? That's not a word. You get a nice crispy finish, like a satisfying line at the end. But yeah, it is especially used if fabric is cut on the bias, if the fabric has a lot of stretch, and if you're wanting to ensure that everything comes out really clean. Yeah. I just have a lot of it to do. Like, there's like I'm starting out with the smallest pieces. These are the facings for the front and back facings for the garment. I have to do both of the panels. But I would prefer doing this over doing zigzagging, because I do actually think I would be here for probably 4 days doing overlocking stitches, zigzag stitches across the whole perimeter of every piece of the garment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm making it like you're making the dress behave in a way that holds the correct shape, and you're constructing it so that when you sew it, it's in the correct position without much pull on one side. Yes, exactly. That is exactly what I'm doing. Yes. Yes. Okay, one piece done. They're not holding me up. I am happy to explain things, and sometimes I just have to pause working on something to make sure that I I talk with my hands a lot. But yeah, no, I could try and follow or like do that step of doing the zigzag stitch. I could do that. But I kind of like the idea of just cloning it as much as I'm able to. And I have done the extra step of doing the pinking, which is something they did not do in that one. And that dress has not frayed. And I know that my friend has worn that dress quite often. It's one of her favorite dresses. It's one, it is really flattering on her. Two, it is incredibly comfortable. I'm fairly certain. Yeah, because it's definitely handmade by someone, and then she found it at a thrift store. And I can't remember if I was with her when she found it, or if it was when she went thrifting antique shopping a different time without me, which very well could be. But anyway, she wears it all the time, so yeah. I just want to ensure this is going to be just as comfortable for her. Okay. Okay. All right. Before I get going on that, I actually did have to do some piecing on this dress. Dress pattern, and that is I had to do some piecing. But luckily for me, and the fact that the original dress, again, I'm trying to copy the original dress as much as possible. The original dress does have what I think is an insanely wide hem for what it is. But I do understand why it has that size hem, and it is partially so that the weight of the hem will help the dress, like, you know, flow the way that it is without being like super bulky. So I get it. I get why it's so big of a hem. And the amount of fabric that I had, just how wide the fabric was, I could not get the full bottom measurement of the skirt in. No matter how, like, whether it was on the bias or on the, like, no, there was no way that I could get it all in one piece. Luckily, the part that I have to piece together is going to be fully in the hem. Like, it's going to be, like, so far up in the hem, like, no one's going to see it. Except for my friend when she's wearing the dress, like, putting it on, taking it off. Like, it'll be visible on the inside of the dress, but yeah. I love when a garment is flattering on someone. It always makes me feel like $1,000,000. It does. It does. Sew those pieces together first. Which means I'm gonna need to plug my iron in. nowadays, it's rare to see someone that has something that looks actually made to measure that looks like it. I think I noticed it at least subconsciously when it's actually fitting well. Yeah, I guess it really does depend on like where you are, or like what community like or the people around you are. More likely what their tax bracket is, because like there are a lot of people who do just get stuff like off the rack and then get it tailored, but not as much as people used to. Definitely not the same rate, and part of it is because of like fast fashion, but like that's always the answer. It's fast fashion's fault. Okay. I think also because we have so many like changing trends, and like especially like the micro trends in fashion, that like by the time oh, did I do this wrong? Did I do it wrong? I did it wrong. Oh no. Oh, I sewed it the wrong way. Yeah, I did. Oh, that's stupid. Okay, let's put you back. Ah! I sewed it the exact wrong way. Well, I don't think I fully finished my thought on microtrends. Don't I? Yeah, I think because some people are so wrapped up in like the microtrend thing that like by the time, if they were to buy the outfit, right, and then if they were to take the time to get it taken to someone to get it tailored, and then they get it back, like the trend would have already died. So when it comes to that, like the only way that they're really going to have that tailored look is if, one, they're the trendsetter. Two, if they are the person, like if they are making it themselves, or just like won the genetic lottery on being able to fit into factory model clothing. And I say genetic lottery in some level of jest, because like it is like the model, the fit models for different brands, they're different. Like every brand, every manufacturing house has their own fit model when they're basing all of their designs around, and that's why like you can be different sizes depending on like where you're getting clothing. There is like an industry standard for fit models, sure, but they're different. Do I have such an example of a micro trend? Because really what I need it to be is I need it this way. So I need to flip those. Okay. What is a current micro trend? See, I am kind of, because of the realm of fashion that I find myself in the like vintage, cottagecore, fantasy core scene. I don't get a lot of like the mainstream micro trends. Right now, like the biggest micro trends are within accessories that I'm getting fed, that I'm seeing. Like specifically within like, you know, bag charms like Labubus, or the literally like army of other charms that are available. So there's that. Like, I mean, when it comes to like clothing micro trends, I feel incredibly disconnected from that. I'm trying to think. Okay. So this one goes on this side. Yeah, I just did this wrong. I did it backwards. I don't own a Labubu. I do not. I became obsessed with one particular Labubu, but I do not own one. The Labubu I became obsessed with is one that is exclusive to not where I live, and I do not have the money for her on the resale market, and I'm also not going to pay resellers for her. I saw one at a con and I became obsessed with her. That is how that someone had her on their bag, and I became obsessed because she was so freaking cute. But she is out of reach. Out of the realm of possibility of ownership. And that's okay. It's fine. But I have a bag charm. The bag charm I have is a little Mothman. He is so freaking cute. He's pink. And he's so cute. I love him so much. You have another idea for a garment you want to make? Oh. Oof. That's more like it. I want to make a cape for when it rains. Ooh. I want to get something with a cool design. I thought I had figured it out. So you want to make a cape, raincoat cape thing out of tapestry? Huh. Actually woven tapestries that are like $300 plus. You can get them for like $100, made of 100% cotton. It's like a printed blanket. They have all kinds of medieval designs when I looked at them. Huh. That's cool. For the research, a lot of the printed blankets, and for $20 you can get a 100% cotton blanket with your own design. Huh. That's cool. Yeah, I was thinking about asking, that was like one of the questions I was thinking of, is how you planned on making it like water resistant, whether you were gonna use beeswax or a different type of wax, because like oilcloths are great for that, like waterproof, that is. Okay. All right, since we learned from our past mistakes and we're not going to repeat them, we're switching these right now, because I know I had them pinned on wrong the other side. Right, this makes it so it's correct, yes? Maybe? No, I did it right. I did it right. We're good. Right or no? Wait. Did I have it right on this one and wrong on the other one? I did. Ugh! Where'd my pins go? Ugh! Oh, there. Okay. We're fine. I'm not losing it. The fabric just keeps running away from me. Okay. Because where I have this pinned, so I had it pinned on here the correct way. Yes. Yeah, I just had it pinned on the other one the wrong way for some reason. For some reason, I lost it on the... Okay. Where is it? There it is. So would you want it to just be like the oilcloth, or are you planning on having like a lining that's like a slight bit more comfortable? Good point. Good point. You wouldn't want moisture to build up in the lining for sure. For sure, for sure. Oh, so you needed like 1 2/3 yards. Roughly. Is that like... Oh, but you would need 1 2 yards. You would need... You need 4 feet 11 inches, but you also need it to be... You need to be 4 feet and 11 inches by 4 feet and 11 inches. You know what? Most fabrics that we sell in the United States... Like, okay, so if you have a fabric that is 60 inches wide... No, that's not right. Because if you did... Yeah, because yeah, so you would need 1 yard, and so for the... You need 1 yard and 3/4. Yeah, so if you were to get fabric that was roughly about 60 inches wide, which a lot of fabrics, at least in America, and I know that there's like meter equivalents or millimeter equivalents, are sold either in 45 or like roughly 45, like it's usually between like 42 and 45 inches, wide pieces of wide fabric cuts, or 60 inches, it's 59 to 60, or like upwards of 100, so like 100 and 108 inches, 120, like anyway. Some are sold in 90 inches. It really does depend. But like roughly they're about that when it comes to like a pair, like fabric that is sold by the yard. Yeah, generally hits around like 60 inches. So 60 inches is 5 feet. So if you were to get a fabric that is standard bolt length, you would only you would only have to get, again, depending on like how your pattern pieces end up fitting together and like the true shape of the garment and how much like you'd roughly need, yeah, you would need about a yard and 3/4 inches. Yeah, I'm doing the math right. I mean, you'd have extra fabric for sure. Ooh. Okay. It only agrees with me because that's what I was taught how to use. Like that's kind of the thing with like any kind of measurement system, is that like if it is what you were taught and if it is what you use on a regular basis, it's going to be the thing that makes the most sense to you. Like any one person, like having grown up with the imperial system, like feet, meters, yards, like I know how to use those, so it makes sense to me. I was not like feet, inches, like using the metric system. Yeah, inches, foot, yard, mile, length, yeah. Yeah, versus the metric system. I'm not as familiar with the metric system as I am with the imperial system, and that's because it's not how I was taught. Like, I was not taught to do math in it. Like that's really it. Because like when like the classes that we learn how to like measure things in, like in most school systems, are our mathematics classes. And pause. So while there are like cases where I firmly agree with the metric system on like how to measure something, or like how it could potentially be like easier and better, it's not the easiest or best way for me to go about measuring something, because it's not the way that I have been taught. I don't think that just because I am more comfortable using one form of measurement, that means that like the other one is bad or wrong. It's just, it's not the way like it is. So for me, like it took me a while to like get used to measuring things in, so like yards, like 3 feet, there's 3 feet in a yard. Yard is just a little bit off of a meter. And I can never remember which direction it's a little bit off of a meter in. But as far as the closest measurement unit in the imperial system to the metric system, a yard and meter are pretty close. They're not exact, but they're pretty close. So because it's like, it's not something that like I routinely use. It's like what's a good analogy? To explain my relationship with the metric system. It's like reading something in a different language. A language that I know. Like, I know the words that are being said, but it's not my first language. It's a language that I have learned, but it's not one that I'm, like, really strong in. So when I'm reading, like, a recipe and things are measured in grams instead of ounces, I'd have to do a bit of translation. I've got to do a bit of math. I've got to do a bit of translation. I've got to do a little bit of, okay, so what's the equivalent, or as close to equivalent in ounces to grams. And similarly, when I'm reading instructions and I'm following like a tutorial from someone who is like operating within the metric system, and they're like, okay, it's this many centimeters. And I'm like, well, I know centimeters. I was taught centimeters in school. School taught me centimeters. Centimeters are on my ruler. Like, I get it. I do get a centimeter. But when they go like 80 centimeters, I'm like, okay, how many inches is that? 35 centimeters. I'm like, we need to translate that. I need to translate that because my brain just doesn't automatically register that. It is. But that, like, sciences are taught in the metric system, like, but mathematics on like the elementary school level, which is when you are learning your basics, like the things that you fall back on when it comes to the way that you measure things, and the way your true basics when it comes to math and science within like the elementary school system in general. And I know that there are a lot of schools that have been like switching things over and changing things, and there's been a lot of like dual teaching, which I think is great. I think like moving forward, having a move over into like a better understanding of like how like the world operates, and not just like how one country operates within like the maths and sciences, is incredibly crucial. But like when I was growing up, pretty much everyone like on the elementary level is taught in the imperial system. And then when you get up into high school and you're getting into the more complicated sciences, then you are introduced to the metric system in a more academic way, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, translating is something that like we're having to do. 'Cause like like yes, absolutely. Like I took physics in high school, and that was my senior science class. My last year in high school, that was the science class I took. And that was my first real strong introduction to like using the metric system. But yeah, like sciences, absolutely. Like in academics. But yeah, like college level science classes, absolutely they're using the metric system. For sure. It's like similarly to like telling the difference in temperature. My strongest experiences with Celsius were wholly isolated to my science classes. Because, Celsius makes sense within the context of science to me, personally. I don't necessarily like my brain and my body do not understand the temperature outside in the context of Celsius. I'm so used to seeing the Fahrenheit temperature and knowing how that's going to feel with my body, like relating the temperature in Fahrenheit. Like when I see the Celsius number, I'm like, sure. It means something, and my body and my brain don't quite have agreement into what that means. Like I'd have to translate the Celsius number to Fahrenheit, because, I know what Fahrenheit feels like. I know it. I know what 25 degrees Fahrenheit feels like. I know it. I don't fully understand what 25 degrees Celsius feels like in my brain. I know it is very different. So when I'm reading, again, back to those cooking recipes, when I'm reading those, it says, okay, you need to turn your oven to 100 Um, 125 degrees or something like that. I have to translate that too. That might actually be like absolute insanity. What did I just say? Because my understanding with Celsius is that 0 is freezing and 100 is boiling. Whereas water in Fahrenheit boils at 250 degrees. And 32 is freezing. In Fahrenheit. So, like, in my brain, for the sake of, you know, making, like, equations within math and science, humans are 35 degrees Celsius. Huh. 37 degrees. Sorry, I misread. 37 degrees Celsius. Like, that's like the standard human body temperature. Like, if you have anything like too much above that, then you're... Yeah. Yes, I did know that negative, like, once you get like super far into the negatives, like, they just feel exactly the same between Fahrenheit and Celsius, but it's things that are like close to 0 or it's like anything like from 0 to 32 in Fahrenheit is where there's like the big difference between Fahrenheit and Celsius. Like, that's where the big difference is. The biggest differences. And then obviously everything above 32 degrees Fahrenheit is different than Celsius. I like read that like how someone explained like the difference between Fahrenheit and Celsius was that like Fahrenheit is based off of like is going to be like based off of like how it feels to the human body, whereas like Celsius is more akin to, I don't remember exactly what they said to like how Celsius was. Way before SI units, it was the case you had to actually, it had an actual metal meter that we called the year meter, which was a rod of metal that was declared as the length of a meter, and it was heavily guarded. Interesting. who made copies of it and calibrated instruments on those copies that they'll follow the East Wall. Berlin Wall, East Germany compared their year meters. And they were not the same length as the Western ones. That's crazy. That's really interesting. Back. That I have to cut a notch in here. That's just projecting? What's just projecting? If it's off of how someone else was explaining Fahrenheit and Celsius, probably. I think that goes back to the how we are first taught about a measurement system and what is our place of falling back to with measurements. Like we have, whether it be temperature or length or weight, we all have like the way that we are originally taught it, and then additional ways that we learn, and then like whichever one has been our baseline, our start point, that's the one that we're going to feel. It's gonna mean something to us. more than the other. Like hearing about a measurement or a temperature in the measurement system that's not the one that we're used to hearing or is on our baseline. It's not going to be. It's, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. We're still on that one. I'm sorry. I still stand by what I said, though. Just because they were used to measuring with one measurement. It's fine. That's silly. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little out of practice standing for prolonged periods of time in one spot. Like, so on, I'm gonna sit for a minute. On Sunday, I worked on organizing this a bit more, not that you can tell. And I was having to lift this. Don't fall. So having to lift this beanbag and the heavy box that's underneath it a number of times, you know, to move it so I could organize behind it. And after that, of having not like lifted like substantially heavy things for a couple weeks, the next day I noticed my legs were dead, dying, because like I know how to lift things without hurting myself. I'm a practiced veteran on good spine, what's the word, how to avert hurting my spine while lifting things. You know, you lift with your legs, but when you lift with your legs and you haven't lifted with your legs in like a month because you've been on like a trip to see family, so you weren't lifting heavy things while you were on a train or on a plane or in the Grand Canyon, like, and or at the Ren Fair. Like, I mean, I guess I could have lifted heavy things at the Ren Fair if I wanted to, but no. The point is, my legs sore. Like, it's Wednesday and my legs are still a tiny bit sore. So that's just telling me that I need to go find something that is going to be not super like inconvenient, maybe is the word, to lift and do some weight exercises, I guess, because I definitely am losing that like routine muscle strength that I had from the fact that my job was lifting stuff every day, lifting relatively heavy stuff every day. Manual labor, one might say. Yeah, lift with anything. Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna need to do something. Get back into a workout routine more than I currently am doing. And maybe that'll help my mental health be better. Actually, it probably would. My mental health would probably be a lot better. Like, that's a silly thing, you know, because people are like, yeah, you just take a walk. Go take a walk. Actually, it does help. Like, it's not like the end all be all, because like, you know, all things have to like work together. You can't just depend on like one thing. It's like multiple steps, multiple things. Like, you can't, like, it's not just the one thing. Yeah. Yeah, because I need to not lose my muscles. Not that they were like, you know, spectacular, but like at least I didn't feel like I was weak. So, yeah. I don't think you were here, Teru, when I talked about it at the beginning of the video, which you could go back and listen to it if you wanted to, but I'll share it again now. And that is in my job hunting. In my job hunting so far, I have already received 2 scam text messages about job opportunities, one of which is incredibly funny. And I actually got a second text message from the same number today. Should I have blocked them the first time? Yes, I should have, but I didn't. I don't know why. I just like reported as spam and deleted it and didn't block them, which was stupid. I need to block them. But the first one, it was a text message addressing me by name, thanking me for applying to a job I did not apply to. I didn't apply for this job. I did not recognize the company's name whatsoever. I have an Excel document where I'm keeping track of all the jobs I've applied to. And I was like, I don't know who you are. Who are you? And the text message included a link to schedule a phone interview. And I didn't click the link. But that's what they said the link was, and I'm going to choose to believe them. I'm going to choose to believe that that was a link to their calendar, a calendar invite. But I looked at that. I Googled them first off. I Googled them because I was like, what is this? Did they just like find my LinkedIn? Is that what happened? Did they find my like Indeed profile? Like what? Like is this like? Because I know I did not apply for this job. I sure as hell know I did not. And how do they know my name? You know, that kind of thing. I know how they know my name. I'm in a database somewhere. So that makes sense. So I Googled them, and it turns out, thank Reddit, that this is a pretty common little scam thing that they're running. Like it's pretty routine. There are some people that actually followed, like they actually did like the interviews. They got all the way to the job offer, and they had like zero communication about like what their, like what their salary would be, what like onboarding plan was, like nothing. Like they had like awful communication, like kind of like horror stories. Like they got ghosted, like blah, like all sorts of stuff. Like they went through like multiple rounds of interviews. We're told that they were in like the top 10 of like the applicants that were being interviewed, like all this. And like this is going back like few years. Like they will disappear and then pop up with a slightly different company name, but it's still the same company. And so I was like, yeah, no. So report delete. This morning, I got a text message from someone named Alyssa. I doubt Alyssa is anyone's real name. And if so, like, I'm not saying what company it is. So, like, no hate to Alyssa. But someone from Alyssa saying, like, hey, Jolene, I'm so happy to see that you're on my schedule for this week. And I'm like, what? Yeah, sure, I'm on your schedule. I'm on your schedule to harass. I'm not on your schedule for an interview because I didn't click that link. What are you talking about? I did not respond. I reported and deleted. I should have just blocked them, but now I'm kind of just morbidly curious if I'm going to get another text message tomorrow. Because, like, also I got them at, like, insanely early hours of the day. Like, this text message I got at, like, 7 a.m. 7 in the morning. Like, I know that, like, my phone number, the area code is very, East Coast. Like, it is definitely Eastern time zone phone number, but I don't live in the Eastern time zone. Also, that would just mean that they were sending the message at 8 a.m., which, like, is still too early. Like, what? Anyway. No, I'm honestly, like, it's kind of funny, but also kind of depressing that, like, the only contact I have had has either been with a really suspect, the other one was with an AI. The time period with which I applied for the job on LinkedIn. Within 5 minutes of me applying, I got an email before I even got, like, the notification on my iPad about, like, the email. Like, it hadn't even downloaded into my mailbox. I got a text message saying that they would call me. I got a voicemail within a couple seconds of me, like, opening my texts to read the message, and then I got a second text message saying, "Sorry, we missed you. Like, please, like, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, So I Googled this company too, which I should have Googled before pressing apply. That's on me. Absolutely on me. Did I just run out of thread down there? No, I didn't. I'm just being paranoid. Before, like, I should have done that, but I didn't, so that's on me. Turns out also pretty scammy. Reddit also has horror stories, so yeah. So fun. But so far, I'm not, I have not given up on the job search. We're still plugging away. So, yeah. I am actually someone who's to set up AI bots to waste the time of scammers, no lie. Yeah, no, I'm not. So, one of the people on Reddit actually they said that they had because they had linked, which I think is so smart. I think it's so smart. They have like they have a Google call catcher on their phone, and so like the call catcher, it's like I don't remember exactly what it was that they said it was, but I remember it being Google something. So like their AI, basically their AI like receptionist call catcher answered the phone for them to take the message, and then you just have like two AIs talking to one another, and that's like what you said the recording sounded like. It was just two. Oh man, that did indeed like reading that one. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I'm like, that is actually kind of so smart. No. Yeah. I'm gonna need to yeah, just keep plugging away. Just keep plugging away. But I thought it was so funny. I thought it was hilarious. Because like sometimes, like what it reminds me of is like every so often when I am live over, like I'm live over on Twitch specifically. Hey Twitch, love you. I love you so much. But occasionally I'll have people in the comments on Twitch who are like, hey, want me to help you with your profile? Like I can like, you know, blah 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 blah. Or I'll get those like emails in my my inbox of like, hey, we love your Instagram, pay us XYZ amount of money and we'll help you like optimize your Instagram by like your profile or your TikTok profile. And I'm like, that's so nice of you. But I'm good, thank you. I'm just having fun over here. Yeah, you do have to be pretty savvy because like there are plenty of people that do like the cold call thing and they're like so genuine and they're actually like they're putting their names out there, they're trying to get, you know, people in their portfolio, but I would say at least 8 times out of 10, if not 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, it's some of the most shady stuff. Like my grandma tagged me in something on Facebook. I love her to pieces, but I'm fairly certain the photo is AI, and if it's not AI, it's misappropriated or misattributed at the very least. There's a misattribution in the photo, and I um and that, that's like that's the kind of thing where like my grandparents don't really have a great understanding of like what AI is, um or how much of it is on Facebook, because that's like Facebook is like the only social media that they use. um so it's that's kind of hard, you know um when you have like people that are not like the most tech savvy, and they will admit that they're not the most tech savvy. But yeah, you do have to be like so savvy, and so like hyper aware of everything. And even then, like it can be pretty easy to get got. Okay. I got all the stay stitching done. And I've got 10 minutes left of stream. And I'm not going to get any more sewing done today. I've got my thing where I'm keeping track of my time that I'm working on this, because hour 19. Keeping track of my time that I spend on these projects, because that is the only way that I'm gonna be able to in any way tell my friends what I need to charge them, because like I am trying to figure out, because again, these are like slightly commissioned. So slightly commissioned, I say slightly because they're from my friends, so I'm definitely giving them a better rate than I would on a non-friend related commission, like the friends and family bonus. Whereas if it was someone that like I did not know, I'd be charging at least $5 more per hour. Because and also like not saying that I do a worse job for my friends or family, but I know that my friends and family are going to be a lot more forgiving of any small mistakes that I do make, or like they're gonna be like a little bit more like time lenient, so, or time, they're, yeah. Anyway, point is, I need to keep track of the time, that way I feel as though like I am actually charging something that is like accurate to like what my, I don't know, I'm trying to be better about tracking time. You need to be so aware of minuscule things to make sure it's an AI. Yeah. Well, like, and like there are like that's the thing that's kind of like scary. We can talk about it. Let's talk about AI for the last 10 minutes of stream, or it's now 53, so not 7 minutes of stream. Yeah, so like scary, because like there are like, no, I didn't want Siri. In a just world, you should earn a good living. You're a skilled craftsperson. Yeah, like skilled labor is really undersold, and I think like, or really underappreciated, and I think that's like part of the reason why like AI ends up being so incredibly frustrating, because of like the amount of people that are saying that they're AI artists because they put the prompts into AI to produce art, when that art, like the medium that they're replicating, like they're saying like it's an AI painting, like a picture that has been like put together by AI, like the skills that it took to actually make that kind of painting in real life, the skill that it takes to shoot a movie, the skill that it takes to take like a really good photograph, and honestly even the skill that it takes to actually like be able to know how to pose for photos. Like that is a learned skill. Like there are some people that are like, just so photogenic, but like there is a lot of work that goes into learning how to position yourself in a way that tells a story, the way that like art tells a story. Yes, absolutely. There are beautiful people that like, no matter how they're photographed, they look stunning. But there's a lot of like, for a lot of models, it's a lot of work, and it's a skill. It is a skill. It may not be like, the most transferable skill to like other things, in the same way that, skills that I use in that some of the skills that I use in sewing can be applied to other forms of DIY, like I don't know, constructing something out of wood. The skills of measuring and piecing things together, those are skills that are within sewing that can be transferred into carpentry. They have to be adapted for sure, but those are some transferable skills. With AI, you're not learning any of those transferable skills. Like you're not learning any skills that like can be transferred from one art medium to another. You're not going through all of the work and the struggle of working on the same painting for years and like not being happy with it. Like I have a friend who has a painting that she has worked on. She's changed it almost every year. She has like on the same canvas has changed that painting because she wasn't happy with it, and she thought of a way that it would make like that she could make it make it better, and she would do that again, and then it didn't end up being right. And so finally she settled on what she currently has with it. And she's pretty okay with it. But like that's the kind of thing like that AI, people that use AI to create art are missing. It's like AI is so highly mediocre and so subjectable and dumb. There are so many uses for AI that are practical and are actually incredibly helpful in the world. For example, with data management, especially in something that like your need like data management within like small devices, having AI components help like manage like with the data management, that is something that is incredibly helpful. There is a really big problem, and like the issue that we have now where like AI is becoming a lot more of the big bad evil thing when it could be a useful tool, like when it comes to the destruction of like the environment, is you have companies that are trying to force the mass adoption and mass acceptance of AI in almost every aspect of life sooner than it may be, and then it is viable for the environment. Companies that are going into areas of the country that are already like specifically within America, like, and I know in other places in the world too, this is absolutely true. But going into places that are already really tight on like their water resources, and then monopolizing all the water resources. I believe the percentage that like a standard urban area, like a town, the amount of water that's lost in its water cycling, the cycle of water comes into a house, it gets used, it goes to a water treatment plant, it gets cycled back in. That water cycle, the percentage of water that is lost in that cycle is around 20% for a standard urban area. It's around 20. When it comes to an AI like facility, a facility that is used to power ChatGPT or Meta or Google, it is, and if this video gets banned, if this video gets taken down, if this live stops, I'm gonna say this is why, and it's it's fine. When it comes to YouTube, like actually uploading it, it's 80% to 80 to 90%. Or 60. Yeah, it's more than half of the water that is lost to evaporation. So you already have a place that is incredibly tight on the resource of water. You have a AI usage plant that is using up the majority of the water in that area. And then it's giving less than half of the water back to the system. So it's taking a large majority of it, and then it's taking a large chunk of the water usage in that given area, and then of the water usage that it's taking, it is losing in evaporation over half of it. So it's giving back very little to the water usage system. Yeah. LLMs. Why is that acronym not ringing a bell? Language learning model. There it is. My brain is just not here. Yeah. Cause like it's like there are so many uses within science and within like AI is it is a very interesting thing from like a science, and like it is interesting, but the rate at which it is being used and applied on a mass scale, when it has not gotten to the point where it is viable sustainably, is really, really troubling. Like it's incredibly troubling. The amount of space, the amount of water usage that has to, like, it's not at that point yet, and it is terrifying, the amount of the level of impact that it is having right now, as there is this intentional push towards it. Yeah, it's really upsetting. It is. So with that rant, don't use AI models to steal other people's art. Pick up a paintbrush. It's okay to be bad. Like I think that's like one thing like that is like so upsetting, because like with all of the like actual like really I believe incredibly impressive uses that artificial intelligence could achieve within many different like aspects of life, like any potential like future good that it might have. The fact that right now the majority of the way that it is used is to take away people's ability to be okay with failing, and be okay with struggling and like not being good at something right off the bat. And then couple on that the impacts to the environment and the local community because of the forced mass adoption of the computing thing. It really is like the increasing rate of people's fear of failure and struggle that is really upsetting, because I think some of like the best art, some of the best artists, some of the best art came from people who failed so many times to get to the place where they are. Like, they have so many botched projects, like projects that are like will never see the light of day, crinkled up paper, trash can full of it, like I have behind one of the baskets over there, I don't remember which cubby it is, there is a dress that I started working on in college, and I've never finished it. And part of the reason is because I absolutely failed at constructing it. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't like it. I actually I hate it. And I don't want to finish it. I don't. I keep the fabric and I keep it as a reminder of it's okay to not be good. It's okay for not everything to be a win and for not everything to turn out the way that you wanted it to. You just gotta keep going. It's okay to just set something down and not touch it again, as long as you've learned something from that experience and you continue to do something else. You don't give up completely. I haven't given up on sewing just because that one dress failed. I just gave up on that dress. I like how your streams have a take-home message. It's like the good kind of Sunday morning cartoon. You're welcome. I think I'm learning where my sweet spot is I bring you into my craft room and then I we work a little on the craft and then I'm like, here's the thing that's concerned me about life. Here's my thoughts on it. And maybe there's a moral to the story. There may not be sometimes, but sometimes I think we just gotta be okay with messing up and learning from those mess ups. And yeah. So it is 7 afternoon. I've got dishes that are calling my name. Actually, I need to do some dishes. So I'm going to get going. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week. I will be back here on Sunday for some Infinity Nikki gaming. I'm enjoying having the gaming Sundays. I think those are kind of fun. So I hope to see you then. If I don't, that's okay. That's absolutely fine. I'll see you whenever you're able to next stop in to my craft room. I, again, hope you have a great week. Thank you so much for being here, Teru. And anybody else that's been in watching that hasn't been chatting, I appreciate you too. I hope you have a great day. Take care.